Getting replaced IED, sir.
In Afghanistan, a small village is buzzed by a drone, alerting the locals who brace for an imminent attack. American soldiers soon descend on the town only to discover it deserted as the residents hide indoors. While progressing through, the soldiers encounter a suspicious man wielding a bomb. They encircle him, issuing a threat to drop the weapon. Initially dismissive, the man eventually draws a gun, leading to his swift elimination by the soldiers. Jake reports the incident to Colonel Mason, seeking permission to disarm a bomb. Mason denies the request, but Jake defies orders, successfully neutralizing the threat. Suddenly, a concealed second bomb detonates, claiming the lives of most soldiers. Hostile forces emerge, engaging in a fierce firefight, with only Jake and Mason surviving. Mason saves Jake from an enemy attack just before a helicopter arrives. Fast forward 5 years, Jake grapples with civilian life, managing PTSD with medication. Employed at Earl's auto shop, Jake navigates demanding clients. Post-work, he returns home to his family, maintaining a cheerful demeanor for his son. Privately, tension arises when his wife points out unpaid bills. Jake vows to handle it. While putting his son to bed, he shares a picture and tale of his old squad, mentioning Mason's presence during the child's birth. Reflecting on not communicating with Mason, Jake evades his son's question about killing anyone. The following workday, Jake confronts gangsters demanding Earl's debt. Despite overcoming Fresh's henchmen, Fresh forces Jake to holster his firearm, promising a future showdown. Earl, acknowledging his past gang ties, reassures Jake about the block's safety. Despite Earl's assurances, Jake, still feeling the war's echoes, checks on his family, leading to a disagreement with his wife over involving the police. Later that evening, Jake returns home to find Fresh outside, mentioning payback before driving away. Panicking, Jake rushes inside to a devastating discovery: his family is dead. In a state of despair, he experiences a breakdown. The police arrive to question him, but Jake, snapping, escapes in his truck, driving through the city in search of Fresh. Memories of happier times flood his mind until he locates Fresh's car outside a club. Jake storms in, gun in hand, ruthlessly taking down every gang member. Despite Fresh explaining he didn't intend to harm Jake's family, Jake remains unswayed, shooting Fresh. 5 months later, Jake is imprisoned, grappling with worsening PTSD and vivid memories of Fresh's imagined actions. Mason offers to reopen the case, but Jake, unrepentant, refuses. He dismisses Mason and instructs the guard to return him to his cell. That night, Jake reflects on his army days and Mason's retirement. Soon after, Ramsey, a stranger, visits Jake, revealing he leads a rogue task force called Section 8. Impressed by Jake's record, Ramsey believes they can restore Jake's purpose. Jake initially resists but relents when Ramsey emphasizes his son seeing him as a hero. In Washington, D.C., Ramsey introduces Jake to the team, Elias, Ajax, Bruner, and Mueller, and showcases their base, the Batcave. He details their global operations for national security, receiving orders from the State Department and NSA. Starting out, Mueller becomes Jake's mentor for missions. Jake is provided with essentials, bank account, apartment, vehicle, backstory, and alias, marking him as dead to the world. Ramsey departs, leaving the team to initiate Jake into Section 8. Ajax starts provoking Jake, physically pushing him and throwing punches. Despite Jake's attempts to avoid conflict, Ajax's aggression causes him to snap. Jake pushes Ajax to the floor and nearly stabs him in the eye with a pen, but a sudden memory of his family grounds him, leading him to leave the scene. Frustrated, Ajax asserts that Jake's fear shows he doesn't belong, a sentiment opposed by Mueller. Later, Jake and Mueller discuss his upcoming mission on a plane. Their target is Castillo, a defense contractor and weapon dealer who has acquired dangerous schematics for sale to the Russians. Jake grapples with the realization that they function as a group of assassins. In Mexico, they discover Castillo in a warehouse making a deal with a Russian negotiator. Jake discreetly kills a guard, sparking chaos and turning both gangs against each other in a full-blown gunfight. Jake eliminates the survivors, retrieves the schematics, and leaves. Back at the base, Ramsey chastises Jake for leaving 2 scared women alive, accusing him of compromising the mission. Jake defends the women as victims and accuses Ramsey of disregarding human life. Ramsey threatens to send Jake back to prison, and Mueller supports Jake, but Ajax questions Ramsey's decision. Alone, Ramsey contacts someone named Locke. The next day in Nevada, mercenary Locke carries out a mission for Ramsey, killing a target despite bribery attempts. Locke escapes through a hotel casino, eluding guards, causing chaos and stealing a car. Meanwhile, Jake moves into a new house, discovering framed pictures from his time in Afghanistan. Reminded of a comforting conversation with Mason, he later drinks at a pub, where Mueller shares her past as an army member who punched a commanding officer. Ramsey assigns a new mission: retrieve sensitive digital information and eliminate Senator Graham, accused of treason. Security is emphasized by Ramsey as crucial, especially for Jake, as the group prepares for Senator Graham's event in California. Disguised as landscapers, Mueller infiltrates to eliminate guards while security whisks Graham away in a van. Jake, chasing the van, attempts to block its path but fails. Overwhelmed with memories when Graham pleads for his life, Jake decides to spare him, only for Ajax to intervene and kill the senator, reminding Jake not to hesitate. At home, Jake grapples with guilt, crying over pictures and drinking. Masked men searching for him prompt Jake to escape. Seeking help, Jake confides in Mason, who reveals that the real Section 8 was dismantled, leaving behind a network of disgraced agents with dangerous connections. Mason pledges support with money and a gun. Returning to his hometown, Jake declines Ramsey's meeting request. Ramsey instructs Mueller to contact Locke, hiding in Argentina, to task him with killing Jake. Jake encounters his son's friend, learning Fresh was seen with mysterious individuals in black suits before the family tragedy. Locke appears, opening fire and forcing Jake to flee. Locke's violent rampage allows Jake to escape, and he hides at Earl's shop, recalling how Earl raised him. The arrival of the team triggers an armed confrontation. Jake and Earl fight off Elias and Brunner, with Ajax shooting recklessly. Utilizing a screwdriver, Jake incapacitates Brunner and engages Ajax in hand-to-hand combat. Miller intervenes, shooting Ajax and ending the confrontation. After the intense confrontation at Earl's shop, Jake checks on Earl, who is unharmed, and is given his car key to escape before the arrival of the police. In the car, Mueller reveals she saved Jake because she wants to leave Section 8 as well. Jake, skeptical, demands to be taken to Ramsey's location. The next day, the duo attempts to sneak through a forest in Montana to find Ramsey's cabin. Suddenly, Jake is knocked out. In a room tied to a chair, Jake wakes up to find Ramsey and Mueller, who orchestrated a trap for him. The surprise is Mason's entrance, revealing he has been working with Ramsey. Mason had disclosed Jake's location to Section 8, leading to Fresh being paid to kill Jake's family. Stunned by Mason's betrayal, Jake is left alone, while Mason pays Ramsey and Mueller the agreed-upon money. Ramsey suggests killing Jake as a liability, and Mason agrees, but he frees Jake afterward, confessing he was undercover to take down Section 8 from the inside. Mason triggers an alarm, and as guards approach, they kill him. In the ensuing chaos, Jake and Mason shoot their way to find Ramsey. A gunfight erupts, and when Ramsey is spotted, he hides with Mueller, offering Jake the money. Jake refuses, and as Ramsey tries to convince Jake it's all Mason's fault, a scuffle ensues. Mason takes a bullet for Jake, Mueller attempts to shoot Jake, and Mason dies. Jake fights Mueller, ultimately killing her. Jake pursues Ramsey, and after a chaotic car chase, he confronts Ramsey, who insults him. Jake kills Ramsey, and the police bring him to General Savoy, the one Mason was working for. Savoy offers Jake a job and a clean slate, but Jake declines, claiming he has nothing to fight for. Savoy gives him his card nonetheless. Returning home, Jake finds Locke waiting for him, determined to finish the job. A fierce hand-to-hand fight ensues, involving the use of various objects in the room. In the kitchen, the fight intensifies, both men wielding knives until Jake retrieves his gun and kills Locke. The next day, Jake sends a message to Earl, thanking him and announcing his departure. On a bus, Jake witnesses a touching moment between a mother and son, triggering memories of his family. He calls Savoy, accepting his offer, revealing he now has something to fight for. Savoy welcomes him to Section 9. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.